we describing a contentless program without any input from yourself, entirely driven by the learner group?
I would deliver input on what people want me to deliver input on, and my colleagues would do the same. But I don't go there with a list saying you've got to have all of these topics from me, because that's the old model. It's the model which, if you think back to the roots of action learning, Revens was sort of coming up with his ideas of action learning and his projects at a time that the business schools were forming in the UK. And he had a kind of on-off relationship with Manchester University.
Oh, he suffered abuse. He suffered abuse, didn't
he? Yeah. I mean, I guess it was countercultural what he was doing to the way that the universities were going. Universities were focusing on what he called the P for program knowledge or programmed instruction. And, the educational sort of, philosophy around it is quite different to his, which was saying, a bit like I said previously about Mandela saying we'll turn Robben Island into a university.
But not as a political slogan, as an intention.
Yeah. And absolutely. So, I think, that's a key part is how do you ensure that you get traction in the business? That's the role of a really good facilitator of action learning. For me, working in an action learning set, that's the easiest bit of it, but it's the most obvious bit that most people think this is action learning. It's not. That's just part of it. In my kind of model of action learning facilitation, that's 1/3 of it. That's the action learning set facilitator role, and the other roles are the first and probably most important one is Revens called it the accoucheur, which was the midwife giving birth, if you like, to the intervention. I called it the mobilizer. So the mobilizer is the role that I've often had to take early on in a program, sometimes spending quite a long time, selling in, working out where the power lies in an organization to get this approach accepted, influencing key people, piloting it, getting the good news spread, etc. That's all about mobilizing it. The second mode, I call these 3 modes of facilitation. Second mode is the learning set advisor or facilitator. Using, to be honest, there's a lot of the skills that we would see in coaching these days. So, it's good questioning skills, not going in as a facilitator with your own knowledge, agenda, making sure the process works well, and supporting people, etc., and role modeling the facilitation.
So a bit further there, because in describing a set, we're talking about primarily the collective. What about individual contact? Is there an individual strand to support and development within the process?
Yeah, I think if you're running a big program, then you would be attentive to the experience that individuals are having as well. And in my role, often I'm an external facilitator coming into an organization, so it may be a case of with a good structure. Internally, there will be mobilizers of the process internally as well, and people who will be ensuring that individuals' well-being is and they're given some one-to-one airtime as well. So and even as an external facilitator, I try to offer that. So what I would typically do if I'm running a kind of a 1-hour action learning set that I'm facilitating, I might offer people at the end of it the chance to contact me again for one-to-one discussion, or if I sense that there's some sort of challenge that a particular individual might be experiencing, I might just use my own common sense to follow up on that.